Hello, Mr. Desjardins. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever time of day is for you, and welcome to my Metacognitive reflection video, where I will be discussing and reflecting, of course, what I've been able to accomplish throughout the year, the course, what struggles I've gone through, what I've learned to overcome some of those struggles, and a final say in what I believe I deserve in this course. I would like to start off by saying thank you for teaching us this year, as I appreciate the way you're strict in marking, which may sound a bit weird at first, but really helps everyone as we learn a lot of what we can do to improve ourselves for the future when school becomes really difficult. In my past years, I've been struggling with English a lot, as the teachers barely teach with visual aids, which, since I am a visual learner, it helps a lot to have those aids with me. In this class, I was able to learn a lot more as we went through slides for every lesson, and we discussed a lot about the different things we learned as a class for better understanding. Some things I was able to learn and understand better this year than previous years is something like the English literacy terms we did at the beginning of the course. Uh, in the past years, we would learn a few terms and then get a few examples, one or two maybe, um, but we'd never speak of them again in class. In our case, we did multiple examples for each of the terms that we learned, and we even tried making our own examples, and you taught us if it was right or wrong, and helped us like what could make it right, you know. Uh, in addition to that, we made a whole table for these charts, which I have right here on the screen. Um, and we filled out definitions and labeled uh, examples or diagrams. I jot noted all the examples that I could think of, and when we were taking this up as a class, I made sure to jot know all the examples from them as well for better understanding. And I find this chart very useful, as like in future years, in case I forget something, I could always just pull up the doc again and take a look. During this unit, we also went through what a newspaper article was, the different parts of a newspaper article, multiple examples of how they looked and what they do. We also practiced writing our own sections of a newspaper article, such as the practice headers, the paragraphs, and making up the titles for the newspaper articles. And we even made our own newspaper articles, like whole newspaper articles, which I have an example right here. This is some rough work I did, edited by my classmate Arjun. Um, and this is the good copy. So this was a practice one. We did another one which cost more for marks, right here. This is edited by Faisal, and I tried much harder on this one. Yeah. I've mentioned I was never good at English, which still stands to this day, and I know my mark may not be the best, so I've reflected on myself and found out that there are a few areas I need to improve on to do better in the future. The biggest flaw of mine is my time management skills. I've always had a terribly bad habit of procrastinating, and I do get the work done most of the times, but I forget at times too. And adding on, whenever this bad habit takes over, I end up risking a potentially good mark, as I would also end up having to turn some items in late. For example, my creative assignment, which I'll talk about later. I've thought hard about it and figured out that it's mostly due to the order I do different things, whether it be parts of the actual assignment or doing assignments from that are due later than ones that are due sooner, or assignments from other classes that are also due later, but I do those first for some reason. I'm not sure. Um, but moving forward, I have come to the conclusion that before starting any work, I will take a look at all the different parts of my assignment and do the ones that are the most hardest and important ones first. Now then, Reading and writing skills are one of the most important components in English, and there are multiple ways I try to make the most of any texts that I read and write. For example, in Unit 3, our class was doing a novel study unit on the story The Marrow Thieves by Cherie Demeline. And during this unit, our class was given a big assignment in which we had to reflect and present a seminar based on a specific section of the novel in groups. When reading and working on the slides for the seminar, I first read my section to get a base understanding of the storyline so far at that point, and then reread it for better understanding to answer the questions we had to inform our audience about when presenting. And while I worked on my slides after reading the second time, I would constantly go back to the book and skim it a good 2 more times to find specific details I may have missed. It sounds like a long process, but after reading it the second time, I generally knew where all the info I had been looking for was, and I could easily locate it in our section. So these are the slides we made for our seminar, 35 slides, including a Jeopardy and some other activities we had. These are some of the slides I worked on. So for all of these slides, I was easily able to find the info I needed just by going back to a general area in the section that we were given. For example, I'd remember where a lot of these words were because I read and went past it a couple of times. And I just go back at them and then note it down here, and then I found the meanings for this slide. An assignment I've done poorly on is the creative assignment for the novel studies unit as well. I chose an artistic piece option of the assignment, but wasn't able to get the best mark I could have gotten if I managed my time more efficiently and did the tasks for the assignments in a better order. Later on, nearing the end of the course, we were given another chance-like assignment called the Triple ISU assignment, where we could replace a mark we've gotten for a previous assignment and improve it. During this Triple ISU, I chose to redo the creative assignment. Earlier, I have done poorly for not handing in all the required elements, such as some rough work and my artistic statement being rushed. Well, in fact, my whole assignment was pretty rushed because I tried to finish up some assignments I had from other classes as well. Another reason I did poorly was because I focused too much on the drawing section of my project, which didn't give me enough time to work on the actual important part, which was the actual English-related portion of the assignment, the artistic statement, where I had to explain all the symbolism I used in my artwork. This time around, when I was doing the redo assignment, I started off making multiple sketches and researched on my topic. I first did 3 rough sketches of how I wanted my artwork to look. I chose my third one. And then I drew a quick outline of the good copy of my artwork. And before finalizing shading and adding details to that art, I finished up my research notes and artistic statement, which were the most important parts that I needed. And only at the very end was when I started to finish up the good copy of the actual art. Sadly, I wasn't able to finish the artwork due to time, but I had the general idea of everything, and it looked pretty much finished either way. And all the symbols had been visibly incorporated. During the Triple ISU, I didn't have many other assignments I had to do either, so I was pretty much free and spent much more time on the project. But I did forget to submit one of the parts I needed, which was my goals/Mindomo. But in the future, I'll be making a checklist to check off after I've submitted every file, so that the bad habit of forgetfulness doesn't get in my way either. Here is the artworks that I did for the creative assignments. This was the first one, and this was the second one that I did for the redo. In conclusion, I would like to say that I've learned a lot from this course and that I enjoyed this class too, as I've been able to work and learn alongside many of my friends, and the way you teach, Mr. Desjardins, helps a lot as well, as I'm a visual learner. In the future, I will take the feedback you've given me for all the assignments for the ones I do moving forward. During our small talk about the grades, during the triple ISU assignment, um, uh, we did some small talk on what I could have theoretically gotten as a final grade, and I was at around a 58 at first, which was obviously terrible, but at the end I hoped to at least get into the low 70s, but even if it's a low mark, I think that shows quite a bit of improvement to me as well. Um, in all honesty, this year was definitely not my best, but I've also learned quite a lot, and will continue to try even harder in the years to come, and hopefully it pays off. My English mark goes up. Thank you for listening to my metacognitive reflection video. Take care.